Welcome to DIY for Homeowners.
We're mother-daughter projects.
I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki, and today we're making a PVC art project.
And where's that gonna go, Mom?
Well, it's gonna go at Steph's house. She has these two weird openings between her living room and her kitchen, and they always looked unfinished, and we thought that would be a perfect place to put these.
And this is actually going to be a continuation of a video we made back in January, our PVC pipe privacy screen. And that video has over 1 million views on YouTube and had a lot of great comments. So we're going to implement some of those ideas in this project and let you know at the end if we do them again or not.
We'd like to thank the Home Depot for sponsoring this project as part of the Prospective Tool campaign.
And as always, there'll be a link in the description to our website, which will have all the materials and a written tutorial.
Let's get started.
First, we took a trip to the Home Depot and bought lots of pipe. We got various sizes ranging from 1/2 inch to 3 inch. To prep the pipes, Mom sanded the words off and used mineral spirits to clean them up. Next, we started to cut the pipe with a miter saw. We set up a stop block, which is that piece of wood on the right, so that all the PVC pieces would be the same length. You'll notice there's a lot of PVC dust, and we periodically stopped and vacuumed it up. You want to make sure you're wearing a mask and eye protection, as you don't want to breathe in the dust.
We made most of our cuts on a Milwaukee miter saw, but we also got a Makita this quarter, and we tried that out. And what we liked about that was the dust collection is much closer to the blade, so it does a better job collecting the dust. But overall, both those saws did a great job cutting the PVC. One of the things we learned in our first PVC video was when we cut those smaller pieces of PVC, they just went everywhere. And although we knew that, we tried to cut it again on a miter saw, and they just went everywhere. So we decided to use a hand tool, a Husky ratcheting PVC cutter, and it was absolutely perfect.
Next, I'm cutting the basic 2x4 frame, which we will use to make the panels. I laid out the frame, measured it out, and made sure it was nice and square. And for a temporary hold, I'm using 90-degree brackets that I'm screwing into place with our Dremel screwdriver that you push towards the screw to power it. As a base, we're going to use corrugated plastic sheet we picked up from the Home Depot to make sure the glue doesn't stick. First, we cut 2-inch and 1.5-inch pipe, and we placed them into the frame. That's when we realized we really needed the smaller pieces and a few larger ones. So this one has 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch diameter PVC slices. But you know, we still were not done. In our original video, you suggested using epoxy to fill in some of the PVC pipe, so that's what we're doing here. We're using epoxy that's a 1-to-1 hardener to resin. And if I have any advice for you on epoxy, it is follow the instructions exactly, because they're all a little different and it will tell you exactly what you need to do to make sure you have a good outcome. The first thing we tried was laying down contact paper with the hopes that the epoxy would not stick to the board and clamp slices securely to the board. Originally, we thought we would add just a tiny bit of epoxy and what is the bottom would be the front that you see on the PVC panel. After 24 hours, we took the clamps off and removed the slices. And what we found was a layer of contact paper that got stuck to the epoxy. That meant we lost the shiny finish that epoxy has. So instead of scrapping that idea, we decided to just fill the pipe all the way with epoxy. Here we added water to our mixing cups to mark where the epoxy needed to be poured to ensure we got an accurate 1-to-1 ratio. We mixed it together and added a tiny amount of gold pigment to the mix and poured it into the pipes. We didn't have to worry about it spilling out as the bottom was sealed from our original pour. Here we're using PVC glue to attach all the pieces together, and this worked fairly well, but we couldn't really tell which pieces had glue on them and which didn't. And also, because of the design, we're using all different sizes of PVC. Not all of the pipes touched another pipe on all 4 sides, and so what I would say is the construction adhesive that we used in the original video actually gave a better, stronger hold than this did for this particular application. For For the second panel, we worked together, which made it a little bit easier to know what parts had been glued. but it was still a challenge to use the PVC glue for this type of project. You also may notice the panels are mirror images of each other. Mom thought this was more aesthetically pleasing rather than two different designs, and I agree. Mom achieved this by flipping over the first one and tracing the patterns of the circles onto the backing. After 24 hours, we took the frame off and easily removed the panel from the back. I pulled off any spilled glue from the back and discovered a few loose ones which Mom easily glued back. When you look closely, the whites vary in color in the different PVC pipes. To get a uniform look, Mom spray painted them. Mom cut out a circle of contact paper with a 2-inch hole punch to cover the epoxy circles while spray painting. After a couple coats of spray paint, Mom removed the contact paper to reveal the epoxy below. We also spray painted these metal offset clips with spray paint, and these are what we're going to use to secure the panels into place. At my house, I put the first panel in place and it fit nice and perfect, and then I use offset clips on the front and back to keep them in place. I drilled a pilot hole and then used our Dremel Go screwdriver to secure it. Here's a good look at the offset clip on the front and back. And here they are all done and in place. We could not be happier with the final result. They look like they were always there and fill the space so beautifully. They also remind me of a modern version of stained glass. What do you think? Would you use the epoxy? And what do you think of the mirrored design? Let us know in the comments below.
What we learned. One of the comments that we heard over and over on our PVC screen was, "Whoa, that is a lot of work." And you know what? It was. So we looked to see if we could find something that would mimic what we did, but was a lot easier to put in. So Steph found this panel right here, and this is actually PVC, and it comes this way. And she ordered this sample, and we liked the way it looked, and we liked the quality of it.
And once I saw it, I thought, ooh, let's order the bigger panels and put them in the spaces in my kitchen living room area. And Mom said, no, if we're going to do it, we're gonna DIY it like we did last time. We're gonna cut the PVC. And I said, okay, and I'm happy with how it turned out, but I still would like to use the panels in some way. I have an idea for a project, but if you want us to see us use these panels, let me know in the comments, because we gotta convince Mom.
Yeah, you did. Yes. One of the things you have to be very mindful of when you're cutting PVC and when you're using the PVC glue is safety. And we were sure to wear eye protection and a mask when we were cutting the PVC. And we actually used a respirator type mask when we did the PVC glue. And we used a fan to blow all the fumes out away from us. So it's really important to do that.
And we already told you that we wouldn't use the PVC glue again for this type of application, but something you didn't see in the video is right here. When we had already unmolded one of the panels, it had broken in half. None of the pipe broke, but the glue didn't hold. So we glued it again, and now it's holding strong, but it just still doesn't feel as strong as our original PVC pipe privacy screen. So if we were to do this again, I'd use the construction adhesive because that seemed like it was a stronger hold. Before we got started with this project, I measured both spaces in the wall to see if they were the same size, and one was a little bit bigger, but I accounted for that. But ultimately, when we got the left panel up, it was just slightly too big. And it's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? It's slightly too big, too small, we would have been okay with. So what we ended up doing was actually cutting off a little bit of the pipe on one side with a track saw, and that cut beautifully. We didn't have any issues or any splintering, so it's up there, it's cut, and I don't even think people really noticed. We already had someone look at it, one of our friends, and they're like, oh, I would not even notice unless you pointed that out.
If you like this project, let us know by giving us a thumbs up.
And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Are you kidding?
So I kept talking about the project. Well, here it is, the original project, the PVC pipe privacy screen.
Now we made another privacy screen. This one was in the form of a concrete bench with some lattice, and you can find that one right here.
You wanna know a secret? I'm not wearing shoes, and I made Mom take her shoes off so that we'd be the same height, so we're both equally shorter than normal. If you notice, let us know.